You're listening to the Next Wave Radio Network.
Round one, fight!
Can't we do our own secret shows?
All our shows are secret shows.
We have the tools, we have the talent.
You have to use so many cuss words.
Let's go.
Ooh, yeah!
That's why we're talking about music. That's right, because I want to hear all about the big T-Swift concert last night.
You want to talk about that?
Did you get there on time?
We got there. So we missed the first opener. We missed Gracie Abrams. But
never heard of him.
Yeah, no, I've heard her name thrown around a few times. But I work in radio, so like you hear artist names all the time, and
right.
you may never like. I remember when I was working for Cumulus, and people kept talking about someone named Lil Uzi Vert, and I'm like, huh? Is that a person? What is that? And then he just performed at like WrestleMania this past weekend, but still, like, I've probably never heard anything that they've performed. And that's kind of this Gracie Abrams thing is like, I've heard her name thrown around, but I haven't heard anything she's done. We caught the second opener, and I've heard they're good. I can't even remember what the name of the group was, but like
that bodes well.
I just didn't like. There wasn't much memorable. But the thing is, when you're going to see Taylor Swift, who let me preface by saying, like, I only know like maybe one or two of her songs.
What?
No, here's the thing.
You're in radio, Joe.
I only know one or two, but then as her show progressed, I realized there are so many songs I know that are hers that I didn't realize were her songs.
Oh yeah. Inescapable.
But still, like, you know, when you're there to see Taylor Swift, who, whether you know her songs or not, you know of her. Like, she's arguably the most popular pop star on the planet right now, right?
Yeah.
So I don't really care about the opener. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you could not have an opener and it just be you, especially since she's playing a 3-hour set, a 3-hour plus set.
When you're seeing like a mega star like that, you know that there's going to be, and of course, everybody always has an opener. They're probably going to be pretty good when you're at Taylor Swift's level. You're not, schlucking around some shitty rock band with you.
Sure.
It's somebody who's up and coming, and she's vouching for them by having her on their tour. So, they're pretty good. However, that also means you got to get there like an hour and a half earlier than you normally, or you could just show up a little later, because there's always that like 30 to 45 minutes between the opener and the big act.
There's that sweet spot. Yeah,
exactly.
No, and that's when we got in. But yeah, dude, this thing didn't start until 6:30. Like, the opener didn't start until 6:30, and people were lined up at like 1:00 in the afternoon to get into this place.
Oh, I believe it.
And like, that's
Where
crazy.
was this, American Airlines Center?
Crazy. No, it's AT&T Stadium.
Oh shit! Where the Cowboys play?
Where the Cowboys play. She played 3 nights in a row, sold out all 3 nights.
3 nights?
Moments.
That's crazy.
Minutes.
Oh well, yeah, I was following the kerfuffle.
She originally opened with 2, and then she added a 3rd night, which was also weird, because I'm used to like acts like, okay, they book 2 nights or they book a night and then they add another one, and usually they add it to the end, right? Mm-hmm. She added her 3rd night to the beginning, where
it's probably all she had available.
April 1st and 2nd, and then she was like, I'll do March 31st. Let's add that. So there was a little bit of trepidation. There was a little bit of fear. I'm always paranoid something's going to go wrong. And so like, I was like, she's going to blow her voice out, or something's going to happen within those first 2 nights, and then we're not going to be able to see her. But no, we went to the show, and it was, I'll tell you, man, like her or not, like, the production of this concert was insanely good.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, like the elements, the visual elements, the acoustics at AT&T Stadium kind of stink, and it was super loud. Like,
it's too big.
My hearing is still recovering. I should have. My wife got me earplugs. I should have put them in, but I never thought to do it. And by the time we were leaving, it's like, I felt like everybody else could hear each other talking to each other in the car on the way home. But to me, everybody sounded like, you know how like when you're underwater,
like Charlie Brown's teacher,
you're underwater and you hear people talking about, so you can kind of, they're saying words, but you can't quite make out what it is. Yeah, that's kind of, and I'm still like, it's gotten better through the course of the day, but it's still kind of here. Like, if
this will be a fun podcast then, huh?
No, you're fine, especially with the headphones up against my head. But like, if Sarah speaks at a low enough tone, or if Harper speaks at a low enough tone, I can't quite make out what it is they're saying.
You need to milk that too. Take advantage of that these next couple of days while you can, and just kind of blame it. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you calling me. Did you want me to take out the trash? Because you know what? I still had reverberations from the T-Swift concert. Sorry, honey. Or I would have jumped up and done it.
Yeah. No, but dude, it was fun. It was a spectacle. It was really cool seeing like the work she puts into this. I was exhausted for her by the end of the show, and then I'm going, this is the third night in a row she's done this.
Oh, yeah. And then she'll drive all day to another city and do it all over again.
Yes, right? And, I mean, the vast diversity that this woman has, too, with her music. And
she's quite a talent.
Like, just really talented. I was impressed. I was super impressed.
You sound surprised. Were you not expecting to enjoy it as much?
I was, yeah. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I figured, when we were first going in, I was like, I should have brought my 3DS.
You don't deserve those T-Swift tickets, Joe.
I didn't know, but we had a great time, and I got Sarah and I matching shirts. I'm going to wear my Taylor Swift shirt to Metallica.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
they're basically the same band anyway.
I know, right? So that's it. I'm sorry that took so long, but
that's
it was really a fun night.
It's perfect. It's perfect, especially because of the topic on tonight's episode. Isn't that right, Joe?
Yeah, no, but before we get to that topic, I think what we should talk about is what are we obsessed with? What's our obsession?
Well,
it's our obsession. What is that?
You were determined for us to use that as a theme song to the segment, and
I want that to be the drop. Yeah,
hey, maybe the next episode I'll add that in. We'll see what happens. But before we even get into that, Joe, maybe we should say the name of the podcast that they're listening to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Maybe we should. This is the Low Res High Def Podcast. Hi, how you doing? My name's Joe.
I'm Joel.
And this is where we kind of come together, our little safe haven, our tree of trust, where
our basement
and people. The basement. No, let's not call it the basement.
Yeah,
that sounds a little too much like
Mom's basement, not like a murder basement,
like the Brie Larson movie Room.
Oh God,
welcome to our basement. No, this is where we come to talk about the things that make us tick, the things that we love, the things that we're passionate about. We're a couple of kids that grew up, playing Nintendo and watching Spielberg films, and now we're in our 40s and we play Nintendo and watch Spielberg films, and we know you're probably just like us, and even if you're not, if you're trying to explore this world, we welcome you to Joel's basement.
There you go. There you go.
If he really wants to go with that, and yeah, we just kind of take part in the discussion. We're all over the place on social media. Joel can give you all that information.
Sure, we've got a website.
How's that? Smooth, right?
Appreciate that. I do have the info, and that info is lowreshighDef.com. That is our website where you're going to find basically a feed to this podcast that you're listening to. So congratulations, so you've either found the podcast first or the website, and your reward is the voices of myself and Joe Cuginati, who you're hearing on the other side of the mic every week, talking about a topic related to geekdom, whether it be movies or video games or TV or comics or anything we want to talk about. Or in the case of this week's episode, music, right, Joe?
Yeah, which I think is going to be really fun. Like, I know on 16-Bit Gladiators, we've talked about music before. We've talked about video game music.
Did 2 episodes.
I think Editing Bay, we've done some stuff where we've talked about, like, scores.
Absolutely.
John Williams, stuff like that. But I don't think we've ever really just talked about, because I know you're a music guy. You go to South by Southwest all the time with Jenna.
Oh, yeah. ACL Fest, yeah.
You guys were really active going to shows. I used to go to shows a lot, and then, there's a 20-year span where I just kind of didn't go anymore. Mm-hmm. Like a concert here and there, like maybe once every couple of years. But it's kind of ramping back up again. And I have discovered a correlation between when tickets are more easily accessible, I definitely go to shows more often.
AKA free. Yeah.
AKA free. Which is, any other world, if I had to pay the prices for those Taylor Swift tickets, for example.
I know.
I'd be sitting here right now talking to you about how I didn't go to the Taylor Swift show. It wouldn't have even been a topic. But no, I thought it would be interesting. I don't think it's one of the few things, and we've shared a lot, but I don't think you and I have ever really shared about like our musical tastes and like concerts we've been to, our favorite shows, our nerdiest shows that we've been to, stuff like that. So I thought that might be kind of a fresh topic for us to tackle.
I agree, and I don't think you'll be surprised by any of the musical tastes that I have. They probably mirror some of your own. They've come up tangentially throughout our 400 some odd episodes we've done on other podcasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think they're too far apart. But yeah, live music specifically, I think is where this episode's going to be focused, because you can't just talk about music in general, but there have been, well, you went to a big concert. I've been to a few concerts, and a few of our concerts have kind of been nerd themed, I guess, or maybe not as mainstream. Well, I say mainstream, but geekdom is mainstream nowadays, isn't it? So
look, as much as we want to say that geekdom is mainstream, for every MCU, there's still like Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Dungeons and Dragons.
Unpopular.
Like, even though they have made mainstream, like, popular movies about those things, a lot of times they've missed the mark. Like, they didn't quite get what it is that made those things special.
You had to be forgiving if you were a fan.
Yeah. I think the same thing goes for music, for concerts, stuff like that. But before we get into that, let's
so many false starts in this podcast.
Let's reverse it back a little bit. Well, because we've got a formula that you wanted to set up, and so I'm trying to honor that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
So, what is our obsession? What's your obsession this week?
This week's obsession, playing a lot of Nintendo. Specifically, I think I told you last year I got one of those. There's a company called Analog that makes a Super Nintendo clone, basically, called the Super NT. And picked one of those up and waiting to get those for a while. I mean, it's basically just a modern Super Nintendo. It plays the actual cartridges, right? Like, so your old collection of SNES carts that you got, you plug right in the top of this thing. Love it. But it's not that specifically that's my obsession. My obsession comes from the little SD card slot that is on the side of the Super NT, where you can sideload basically every Super Nintendo game ever made.
Nice.
And some that weren't ever released, or some that are mods or hacks. Yeah, so recently I found there's a whole website dedicated to specifically Super Mario World hacks, ROM hacks, where people have created their own levels, own games. Sometimes it's as simple as just like, what if there were a Super Mario World 2? And not that Yoshi's Island bullshit. Don't come at me with that. That's not Super Mario World 2. That is Yoshi's Island. But like a real proper Mario World 2, with Yoshi, where you're riding on Yoshi, and just new challenges. So they've done that. And then others are like complete graphical redesigns. There's one that where you're playing as like the princesses. They take over. So you got Rosalina.
Oh, that's cool.
What's the brunette's name? The red-haired one?
Daisy?
Daisy. Yeah, got Daisy and Peach in there. And then all the way up into what they call the Kaizo Mario games, which are these super ridiculously difficult. You've got to know all the little tricks.
I love watching those. Like, I'll follow Twitch streamers and watch them do like some of these Kaizo Mario levels, and it's really funny. Like when the kids wake up, my kids enjoy watching it, but when my wife joins us, it stresses her out.
Oh yeah, they are. You'll watch these guys play the same level over and over again, and dying in the exact same place every time, until they finally get it. But I do find myself kind of getting frustrated at them. Like, oh, come on, dude, you couldn't make that. Meanwhile, there's no way I would never be able to do that.
That's when I get mad, is when they're just doing the same thing like 5 times in a row. And you're like, bro, like twice, and now try something different.
No one to quit.
But at the same time, like, I can complain as much as I want. These guys are a million times better than I am at these games.
Yes. I'm not nearly as good enough to, I don't have the skill level to do those, but have really been enjoying some of these Super Mario World mods. I've got a list here. Let me try to pull it up real quick.
Is it just...
I wrote some down as I was researching. Go ahead.
I know there was... what was the name of the company? This guy, he was part of like Exploding Rabbit was his company, and he was doing a custom Mario game.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and he would play like levels from it on his, like, he had a private like channel or whatever, not a private channel, but it wasn't like on Twitch. It was like a YouTube channel that was tied into his website, and you could watch him like, Q&A or do like testing on his levels. From what I understand, though, like, his Kickstarter ended up like being a complete disaster.
Oh no!
The money was mismanaged, and like, he seemed like Jay Pavlina. That's his name, Jay Pavlina.
Oh, good pull.
And like, his ideas were solid, and like what he wanted to do was really cool. But the thing is, like, what I don't think he took into account was like the licensing, because he was trying to basically remake Mario, but putting like you could use Ryu from Ninja Gaiden, or you could do Blaster Master, or you could be Link.
That's where you get in trouble, yeah.
Yeah. And so he kind of found himself in trouble. Like he was overextending himself before he had the proper permissions. And so, yeah, like I used to watch him play though. And man, the game he was putting together was so cool, but I always wondered like, how can I play that? How am I even going to be able to play that? So that's really cool that you can sideload these things into your console.
Yeah. And I mean, if Jay were on here, he'd be talking about his fucking Raspberry Pi and, you can do that. But then,
For
you
like
got to
15 minutes. We'd have to hear him talk about it.
But you got to play that on a PC, and then you got to buy a Bluetooth controller that goes and hooks up to it, and it's just not the same experience as sitting in front of your TV with that Super Nintendo controller plugged in and playing it on your TV. And so that's what the combination of these Super Mario World hacks and the Super NT have allowed me to do, and that has been my week's obsession.
That's pretty cool. And it's funny that you said earlier talking about Yoshi's Island and how that doesn't count
It's bullshit.
as Super Mario World 2 because it kind of ties in with my obsession of the week. As you know, I finished
Yoshi's
Elden
Island.
Ring finally after 234 hours of Elden Ring. And so it coincided, like I finished around the same time that like I remembered that the eShop, the Nintendo eShop on the 3DS and Wii was about to be shut down for good.
Oh, that's right.
So I ended up like getting all the games that I need to get on the 3DS, like stuff that, it takes full advantage of like the 3DS technology. You're not going to be able to play the same game. If they re-release it on like the virtual console or whatever for the Switch, you're not going to get the same game.
I know.
So I was like, all right, I've made a short list of the games that I need to get and make sure I have, so that way, I can kind of keep them with me. I can have them. Games I never played through that I'm like, I need to do this if I'm going to. I go through this every once in a while. There's like generational thing. I did it with Jeff when we did the Quest, where it's like, I can't consider myself a gamer until I finish this. Like I've never finished, well, until recently, I've never finished a Luigi's Mansion game.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm like, well, I should play those. So I got like the first two. So like initially my obsession was like just getting all these games so that way I can have them loaded up and ready to go. And then I went through and started trying to figure out, well, what am I going to play now? Now that I have these on here, what am I going to play? And the first one I tried was Yoshi's Island. And let me tell you, I don't think I've ever hard passed on a Mario game fast.
Now, which one is it? This is for the 3DS or this is for the Wii U?
This is on the 3DS. It's the re-release of Yoshi's Island for the SNES.
Yeah, so the original.
I'll come back to it. But no, like there are elements to Yoshi's Island that I feel like work, and not that I feel do work. They feel like work.
Yes.
Like something I need to do, I'm being forced to do, and I'm not enjoying it. Like whoever had the idea of, okay, so in this video game, you need to take care of a baby. Make sure nothing bad happens to this baby.
And if something does bad happen to that baby,
the baby's gonna cry obnoxiously. Like, yeah. Like,
that sound is just ingrained.
Whose idea was this? So I'll come back to it, but not right now.
Good call.
So
hard pass.
Then I decided to try. I tried a couple of other games, like the Angry Video Game Nerd game. I was like, all right, I'll come back to this as well. And then I got started on Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
And after playing 234 hours of Elden Ring, nothing was a breath of fresh air.
Palate cleanser, huh?
Quite like Luigi's Mansion. A nice 4-5 hour relaxing run of a game. I didn't feel, and there's, because it's Nintendo, they have the whole like, well, you've got to get the best rank on this, and you've got to catch all the boos, and you've got to do this thing.
There are ways to extend.
None of that. The first thing I did was I was like, is there a different ending? If I get all these things, is there a different ending?
Well, no.
I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Then I'm just going to go through the story.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And I loved it. I thought it was so fun.
Now, is this the original for the GameCube, or are you playing Dark Moon on the 3DS?
No. It's the GameCube re-release on the 3DS.
Okay.
So they updated it with like the 3D capability. They also they gave you the 2-player option, which I didn't remember there being on the GameCube version.
I don't think you're
but
right.
Yeah, no, I played through that, and then like once I finished it, I rolled straight into Dark Moon. I'm like, I'm gonna go right into Dark Moon and play through that. And again, just really obsessed with this game. It's so much fun. It's not difficult,
No.
but it's challenging enough
Exactly.
to kind of keep you engaged with it. And it's what Nintendo does so well with their IP. Like they fine tune a lot of this stuff, like just the control, the character, and the charm of these games to within an inch of its life. And it's so satisfying, like walking around, being Luigi. And it's like, I went back and read reviews of these games when they first came out, specifically the first one. And like, it never got any resounding, like really super positive reviews.
People were lukewarm.
A lot of middle of the road, and a lot of the criticism and also the praise were the same thing, that it was so different from other Mario games.
Yes,
and
which maybe wouldn't have been too bad of a thing, except that I remember that being like a launch GameCube game before there was a Mario game. So here Nintendo comes out with this brand new system.
That's right.
And you want to play the new Mario game, as we've done on every new Nintendo system for the last 2 decades. And then they're like, no, you're getting sloppy seconds with Luigi.
Luigi's Mansion, which, in hindsight, we didn't deserve it. It's a gem.
That's right.
It's a really great game.
Well, I cannot wait to hear when you jump into Luigi's Mansion 3, because if you enjoyed those, you're in for a treat, my friend.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do that. Like, as soon as I finish Dark Moon, I'm probably going to roll right into Luigi's Mansion 3, which I do hear has different endings.
Oh.
So
hunker down. Huh?
Peace be with me. But yeah.
It's funny that you brought up Yoshi's Island and Luigi's Mansion, because I do feel like they're two sides of the same coin. Like, if Mario is in the middle as far as difficulty goes, you got Yoshi's Island on one end, and then you kind of got the casual Luigi's Mansion franchise on the other.
Yeah, it's a worthy obsession. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Awesome.
And it has some fantastic music. That's my lame attempt at a segue.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into our main topic. Talking about some music. Talking about what do you want? Do you want to focus just on geek stuff right now, or because I've got a few questions that I can throw out there if we need a starting point.
Yeah, I will take you up on that. But before we do that, I will say that I think the genesis for this topic, was
where I was going was, she seems to have an invisible attraction.
Oh, I got to do a mashup now of those two. No, was the news we got earlier this week about one of our favorite movies, Joe, yours and mine, so much so that we're using a soundbite from this film at the beginning of every episode of this podcast.
Yeah,
talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and the surprise announcement that Netflix picked up an anime series of Scott Pilgrim. Not sure if it's going to be like a sequel or a retelling.
I'm thinking it's going to be like, if I were to guess, it's going to be because the movie is a pretty good adaptation of the first few books, but the movie was released before the final book came out. And so what I'm thinking is they're going to give Brian O'Malley his due, and they're going to finally do like a true adaptation of the books. And we're going to see the ending, like how it ends in the book, and we're going to see the relationship between, I mean, spoiler alert, the relationship between Kim Pine and Knives Chow that ends up developing. What I loved, and I'm hoping it's going to be just like that Scott Pilgrim versus the anime, where you see him in the principal's office or whatever, and it's about him like saving Kim and beating up a guy to save Kim, and like punched him so hard he saw the curvature of the earth, like that whole thing. That Scott Pilgrim versus the animation is so good, and I can't help but think like that's something that people have been hanging their hats on for a while, and like we should do this. Like this is something we could do.
That and of course the best part of the announcement being that the original cast, or the theatrical cast, I should say, is coming back.
The entire cast.
Everybody.
I was really hoping to see Bill Hader though. Like, do you know if Bill Hader's back as like the KO?
Well, he wasn't. Did they credit him in the movie? So maybe he'll come back again. They'll just be uncredited.
No, he wasn't. That's true. I don't think he was credited.
I imagine they still.
That's 2 movies he wasn't credited.
That's right. Wreck-It Ralph wrecks the internet, right? Part 2?
No, breaks the internet.
Whatever. That's what it should have been called. That's on our mind, listeners, because Joe and I just guest hosted on another podcast, a friend of the podcast, Tara and Ryan's Princess Diaries, which is, did I get the name of that right?
Yes, you did.
I always seem to screw that up. It's their Disney-themed podcast. They're watching all of the Disney films in order. And we were recently on the Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet episode, where we had some thoughts about that film. So if you want to hear what we had to say about it, check it out. Subscribe at Tara and Ryan's Princess Diaries.
What I like is that they're doing like this childhood trauma theater too, where they talk about like movies from our childhood that like traumatized us. And
Return to Oz.
Bro, yeah, The Secret of Nim, like just all these films, Never Ending Story, films with like we had no business as kids watching these movies. Yeah,
a little too dark. Yeah,
but I would make the argument that it's like movies like that maybe rounded us out a little bit more and tempered our expectations of how magical the future was going to be.
Yeah, that's why Tim Burton was such a hit.
That's right. So music.
Yes. Sorry. Thank you for bringing us back. Yes. So I brought up the Scott Pilgrim anime to say that the voice cast is coming back, but also Anna Monoguchi, who scored the Scott Pilgrim video game and are a awesome rock band that kind of does chiptune music, I think is what they call it, but with live instruments.
They just did a show. They just came through town. They were playing Deep Ellum. They're, I guess, doing the Scott Pilgrim versus the World tour.
Where they play the soundtrack,
where they play all the music from the video game soundtrack,
awesome.
Which is a killer soundtrack. So, music.
Yes.
let's talk about music for a little bit before this podcast comes to a close.
Now you do plan to have music on your music podcast.
Your music podcast. So what would you say formed your musical tastes early on?
John Williams. John Williams, man. He was such an influential part of my life, obviously starting with movies. But as I was coming online and kind of discovering music and what music can do for you and how it can make you feel, I realized that the most emotions I was getting out of music were coming from the scores of John Williams. And obviously, the movies that he were scoring were some of the greatest movies we've had in the last few decades. All of Spielberg's movies on top of some other notable greats, the Star Wars movies as well. But that's when by the time I had my own cassette tape player and expendable income to buy cassettes, all my friends were buying whatever the pop stuff was, and even into the 90s, when grunge and Nirvana and Pearl Jam was becoming popular. I loved that stuff, but I knew all my friends had those cassettes and CDs, so I'd borrow them. But in my own collection, it was like the best of John Williams, and every score. So it was big influence in my childhood. What about you?
Oh, for sure. I mean, John Williams is definitely part of it, and Saturday morning cartoons. I think that, and I think I think you would go with me on this journey that like when you watch enough of like, especially like the George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, John Williams scored movies, and we've said this before in previous podcasts, the music is just as much a character as the characters are.
Sure.
And like just right now off the top of my head, I'm thinking like when I think Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, there are two music cues that like it's not the same movie without these music cues. One of them is the when they save the kids from the mines.
Yeah, that's what immediately popped into my head.
The moment I hear that like the chains, the clinging. It's like that sets the tone, that sets the mood, that built some kind of block in my DNA of like that. And there's also the music that plays when they're on the elephants and they're going to like to Pankot Palace.
Oh yeah,
and it's like all that stuff.
To Pankot Palace?
No,
that's insensitive. I shouldn't do that.
You would go to Pankot Palace.
That's really good.
Guys, every once in a while, I'll send Joel and Jay like a voice text of doing that voice and like doing that whole quote.
Bring back to us.
Bring back to us. So no, like the John Williams music, of course, but like getting back to Saturday morning cartoons, like there wasn't a cartoon that didn't have its own iconic and epic opening song. Like you have G.I. Joe, you had Transformers, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats,
Yep.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Those are all bangers.
Like, these are all bangers. Like and it's the kind of stuff that you grow up on. Like I'd be walking home from school and I'd be singing like Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power, do, 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 do. Like in the Ninja Turtles arcade game, there's this whole orchestrated like instrumental of just that theme that plays over and over again.
Not just one, like every level is a variation on that Ninja Turtles theme. That's one of my favorite video game scores of all time, yes.
So it's John Williams, Saturday morning cartoons, my older sister. My older sister was a complete like metalhead. And so she would always be listening to like Metallica, Ozzy Osbourne, like Poison. I'll put Poison in there. But like she was always listening to these rock bands. And like I would just listen to what was on the radio. And so like usually it was like some really bad like
Whitney Houston.
Like my first cassette tape was Genesis. Like you talked of we
Are you
made fun of
kidding?
it, but Genesis
too.
Invisible Touch was my first cassette.
Me too.
And,
I got laughed at in the Sam Goody by a kid that was just like a couple of years older than me because he overheard me asking the clerk where the Genesis section was, and forever seared in my psyche like the shame of this teenager laughing at me.
Him, man. Time has told the tale on that one.
Album, absolutely,
it's a great album.
Even all the way to that like, weird Brazilian drum track at the very end that gave me nightmares.
Hey, man. But then it leads right to, Phil Collins and his Tarzan soundtrack. Like, without Genesis, we wouldn't have that. I don't know if that's true.
Literally the Genesis.
But no, like my sister would be she basically introduced me to rock. And then many years later, she would kind of be the catalyst that got me a job in radio. And so, but I would get into metal. I got it. That's how I discovered Iron Maiden and realized that like Iron Maiden being a metal band, but if you were to listen to it with just like an open ear, so to speak, if you just listen to it, like there's a lot of classical work being done there. Yeah. And I started marrying what I was hearing in some of my favorite metal songs and rock songs. I started recognizing a lot of the same elements between that and John Williams and like some of my favorite scores in other movies. And I was like, huh. And so that's kind of what I look for in music now. Like I love overtures. I love a band that gives you a good concept album and can bring themes back, do your leitmotifs. So yeah, I know my answer has been twice as long as yours, but yeah, that's kind of my influences. What brought me to get like, I don't think this is tangentially related. I don't think there's another moment that filled me with as much joy as when I first saw the Transformers movie and hearing the Transformers theme song done in like that rock metal style at the beginning of the film. And there's another soundtrack that's like, that's building blocks of my DNA. And the fact that Vince DiCola, who did the score of that movie, also did the score for Rocky IV, which is one of the worst /best/worst/best again movies I've ever seen. And the soundtrack is pretty epic. And again, like a huge part of my childhood that has informed going forward what I look for.
And also a song that is used at the beginning of every episode of this podcast.
That's right.
There you go.
So now knowing what it is, like what was your influence in music, what would you say was your favorite concert experience? I mean, I'm gonna ask about like nerdiest a little bit later, but I really want to know what's your favorite show or shows?
I mean, I started off with my answer of John Williams, and I'll use him again. It's my next answer because I've probably seen a dozen or so live performances of his music throughout my life. Did
you go to any?
What do you mean?
Have you been to like see actual John Williams?
No, and that is on my bucket list. There's this concert that he does every year in L.A. around September, and I keep telling myself like I got to make plans. I got to go one year because motherfucker's like 92 or something like that. This may be his last one, but that's kind of on my bucket list. But even if I haven't seen him personally in concert, I've heard his music performed by half a dozen symphonies or so. And those are always some of my favorites. However, it's funny that you brought up seeing Taylor Swift at the AT&T Center in Arlington, Texas, because that is where I saw a Star Wars concert. Because
I did too.
Were you there for that one back in about 10 years or so?
I was like 5 rows back on the floor.
That's so fun. Yep, I was down there as well.
I recorded the whole thing on my phone. I may still have it.
I think it's like 2 hours long.
Where
really?
like Anthony Daniels was like doing narration and stuff.
Oh, yeah. What a surprise. They were able to get Anthony Daniels for that.
He wasn't busy?
Motherfucker will get out of bed for $2. It's got Star Wars if it gets to do the C-3PO voice at some point. Well, that's so funny that you were there because, I remember that just being a great and this was like post prequels but pre-sequels. Wow, that's hard to say.
Yeah.
So we were getting 6 movies worth of music, which we thought that was going to be all the Star Wars we'd ever get. And really great concert, very memorable. And to
I love the way that they wove the visuals in with the
it's
music.
It's a multimedia
too.
experience, and just to see it on that scale, and to be surrounded by people like yourself, Joe, who I'm learning now was also there, just on the thousands, and in that venue, which I believe had opened recently. By the time
it was.
Concert
It was like 2 years old, I think, at that point, or a year. Yeah, I got a Mos Eisley Cantina T-shirt, or the Cantina Band T-shirt, and it's like on the back it has all their tour dates, and like Alderaan has been canceled.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yes,
that's hilarious.
I need to see if I can find that. That was a great shirt.
That was great.
And they had like props from the movies there and stuff that
I'm
you could
telling
check
you,
out before.
it was a whole Star Wars experience. Yeah, but for me, it was the music that drew me in there, and one of my favorite concerts of all time.
Do you think we're ever going to hear that classic fanfare before the movies?
Oh, the Fox.
Ever again? Do you think Disney is ever going to like resolve that and get... Because it's like they own it, right? Don't they own the music?
I know, but it's a little revisionist history because that logo is only there if Fox distributed the film, and they did not. So it would just be there for fan service. And if that's what you want, then you can find it online. People have added that fanfare to the beginning of the film.
I'm sure Topher Grace has done like 20 different versions. Have you seen that? He made like a 5-minute version of like all of the movies, all 10 movies put together.
It was pretty good.
Dude, that's great.
I could do better. Not bad. Okay for a shot.
Yeah.
For a non-editor.
I guess, man, that's tough for me. What my favorite?
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of people. I've seen them in different ways. Like I got to see Chris Cornell.
And I rocked them all.
Don't get me started on Bon Jovi. I got to hang out on stage while Bon Jovi performed one year.
See, this is a hard topic to do with you because everything I have, you're going to be either you were already there or you were on stage with the band that was performing.
So okay, I've got a few. Like Chris Cornell, I've seen Soundgarden. I've seen Chris Cornell probably half a dozen times. Mm-hmm. Chris Cornell's even come to the performance hall at my office. And like we got to see him perform just a acoustic set.
It's a weird thing to
where I got to meet the guy. He signed a thing for me. Took up one of the worst pictures I've ever taken with someone in my life. But it was a really cool deal.
Well, you can't just throw that nugget out there and not expound. Why was it a weird photo?
What? Oh, it's just a bad photo. Okay. Like
your eyes closed or something.
At that point, I was coming off of like a rough breakup, and I had ballooned up to about 300 pounds at one point in my life, and you could tell like I was on the way up, like I was blowing up, literally. I'm blowing up right now. So it's kind of like how I look right now.
No, shut up.
No, I'm not as bad. I'll never be as bad as I was then. But
yeah, it's unbelievable.
But it was a rough time. Like I wish I could retake that picture. Obviously, I can't for reasons. But but yeah, no, that was cool. I would probably say like my favorite concert would have to be, and these are all close, but I think it's like a 3-4 way tie. I got to see David Bowie and Nine Inch Nails in 1995 at Starplex, and they did like. And like Bowie opened up for Nine Inch Nails. So Bowie did his set. Then obviously Nine Inch Nails did their bit. And then they did a set together where Bowie came out and sang some Nine Inch Nails songs. Nine Inch Nails performed some Bowie tunes. Dude. Like it was it was unreal. So that one's probably top up there. I got to see Ozzy in his first No More Tours tour. And the reason why that sticks out is he ended up doing a video called Live and Loud that was like, it was that concert tour, like the video of it, and I'm on it. so that's kind of that's a point of pride.
You crowd surfing?
No, but I am standing up and I'm waving my arm and if my first stepfather ever did anything right, it's that he took me to two of the most killer shows I've ever been to. And that was one of them. He surprised me. Like, we went and like Alice in Chains opened up for Ozzy, and he brought me out and we were like sitting on the lawn. And I got to tell you, like, I was super stoked just to be there. That being on the lawn, I was fine with it.
Oh yeah.
And then when like after Alice in Chains finished their bit, he was like, "Hey, come with me for a second." And we walk up and we just keep walking up, and he keeps showing these tickets to these guys, and we keep walking forward until we were like 2 rows from the stage. And I was like, wow, this awesome. Is amazing. So yeah, that was a great show. And then finally getting to see Taylor Swift, Kiss.
Oh,
finally getting to see
all
Kiss
your hair bands, man.
Dude. Like I said, my sister influenced me. It was a lot of metal. Kiss is a huge influence for me. And then the final one is almost 20 years. No, it was 20 years ago, 2003. I think it was August 6th. It was James Hetfield's birthday, and Metallica was playing Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, or Texas Stadium in Arlington, and after the show, like, first off, I got to meet the band.
Oh, wow.
And then after the show, I got to meet those guys. They were super nice to me.
I'm sure they were. No, I know them.
And so, and then after the show, they invited our crew to go and celebrate James's birthday at Speed Zone, where we did go-karts. We got to race go-karts with Metallica.
With Metallica.
Yeah.
That sounds like a prize you would win from like a race.
I know, right?
Come on down. You get to ride go-karts with Metallica if you're the 10th caller.
Register to win. You can do go-karts with Metallica. So yeah, that was I think that's safe to say. Like, those 4 kind of, you know, those are up there with like Beck's last minute show that he did at the Gypsy Tea Room being a very close second.
That's
like
fun.
that was a cool show too, but not even close to the same production of like these other ones. But yeah, dude, if you were to ask, if you put a gun to my head and told me to just pick one, I'd probably go with Bowie and 9 Inch Nails.
That's a pretty good double feature, man. Yeah, it's hard to top.
Yeah.
And commendable.
It was awesome. So what is the worst show that you've been like? One that and not just like a bad show, but like one you were really looking forward to and like ended up kind of sucking. Like I wish I hadn't gone to this.
Give me a second to think about that.
Okay.
I gotta have
well,
something.
while you're thinking about it,
okay,
I'll give it to you. For me, what's funny is one of my top shows that I've been to was Metallica. One of the worst shows I've ever been to was also Metallica.
Why?
Because it was like, it felt really like rushed and phoned in, and like there wasn't enough. They really didn't put anything into the production. It was just they came out, played, and they were gone.
Yeah.
And it was like, I've seen Metallica probably 4 or 5 times, and 4 of those times they put like so much into the production. It was amazing. It was a spectacle. But when I saw them at Starplex, like, I think it was them, and I think Rob Zombie opened up for them, and Rob Zombie was outstanding. And then to go straight into like Metallica, who like they couldn't have been bothered with like, you know, any kind of interaction with the audience. Like, hey, how you guys doing tonight? Like, what's going on? You guys like this? You want
no time.
It was no time. They just sped through a set, didn't even come out and do an encore. Like, they were done by like 9:45. And I was like, what is this?
Getting old.
I was really upset.
Wow.
When my experience seeing Skid Row and Pantera is better than a Metallica show, I think that should tell you something.
Yeah, there you go. That sounds more like the Metallica we know and love, right? Yeah. The ones who sued Napster because they didn't want people downloading their
Dude, that was like 30 years ago.
I know, but I'm just saying that's how dumb and short-sighted and hostile they were to their fans.
Yeah. And now, like, it's the way things are done. It's so funny that, like, these guys were fighting progress. Like, yeah, that's like, if you want to like monetize it, that's fine.
Yeah, hello.
Just,
I paid $10 to Spotify every month, and I'm sure they're getting a nice little cut.
I know, right?
You're welcome.
So did that give you enough time?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I can't say I've been disappointed with the performance. I guess I've been lucky. Nobody's really kind of phoned it. Well, you know what? I will say I got dragged to an Ellie Goulding concert, although I wouldn't say I had high expectations for that, but I was expecting her to be more talented than she is, and it was really kind of much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
She had a bunch of backup singers, and it was a bunch of pomp and circumstance. Oh, look, here's some fire. Here's some half-naked backup singers that are kind of doing the heavy lifting for my weak vocals. I don't know. She's one of those artists who sounds great in a recording studio when you can kind of affect her voice, but she was not strong live, I thought.
Yeah.
And also, I probably wasn't the right age or demo for that concert anyway. A little old.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with recognizing, like, I'm better in the studio than I am live. And I think in those situations, like,
maybe don't
do like club shows.
Yeah.
do a club show. Do an acoustic thing.
It was more just like sad that she didn't have enough confidence in her own vocal ability or the quality of her songs.
Yeah.
That she felt like she had to kind of plus it up, or somebody felt like they had to plus it up with a bunch of theatrics. Anyway, but I wouldn't say I had high expectations for that. Go ahead.
Dude, I bought us. I bought Sarah and I T-shirts at the Taylor Swift show.
Mm-hmm.
And together, like, it was like $95 for T-shirts.
Oh yeah. That's where they make their money, man. The merch.
For the merch.
Sweet merch. I do. You know, something I appreciate nowadays about going to live music is the resurgence of vinyl. And how everybody, no matter how small the band is, everybody's got vinyl copies of their albums.
Everybody's got pressed vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Like the touring manager from Metallica called me up the other day. We're doing a contest, and he's got his whole. I'm sorry, but he's got we're going to be doing this thing where we're going to be giving away, like, when their new album 72 Seasons comes out, we're going to be giving away copies of that, and each person who wins qualifies for like this daily grand prize to go to the show. But then the big grand prize between those three winners, one of them is going to get like this full vinyl catalog of Metallica albums,
nice,
a signed copy of the new one, and we're giving them like a turntable as well.
And
like just the fact that they got a new album coming out.
Oh wow.
Are they not supposed to? Should they not?
No, that's fine. Well, I mean, I don't know. Are they any good anymore? Because there's some bands that should have quit while they're ahead. Rolling Stones, I'm looking at you. And then other bands that have evolved their music over time and grow as musicians.
You know, here's the thing about Metallica, and
I'm guessing Metallica is not the latter.
What they've been advertising with this, they're going to be coming back in August. They're doing a 2-night thing, Friday and Sunday, and it's supposed to. They call it it's like no repeat weekend. So it's like they're going to do one set, and they have one set of openers, and then the next night it's all different songs. Like they're not going to repeat any tunes. They're not even going to repeat any opening acts.
Sucks to go to that.
And like everyone's question's been like, well, what night are they playing the old stuff?
Real 50-50 chance.
And I'm like, I think they're going to be spreading it out throughout both nights. Because I'll tell you, like, if I go and they play all the old stuff I like on Friday, probably not going back on Sunday.
No.
And the thing is, like, there's nothing wrong with their new stuff. It's just that, I don't know, like it's almost like they've kind of taken a step backward, and it's just kind of become like this weird thrash metal. And these guys are 50, 60 years old now. I don't need to hear thrash. Just you know what? When you hit Black Album,
there you go.
You hit that. Even Load. Like, I'm good with those tunes you were writing. Like that was some good stuff. I could follow it. It wasn't thrashy hard, but it was still a nice hard mix. Now it's like I can't get into this, and all their songs are like 10 minutes long now.
Oh no, yeah, they've been emboldened. Joe, would you say they've lost the fuel and the fire
and all that I desire? Yeah, dude. So they debuted that song. One of the shows I went to, it was before they released Load. And he was like, I'm going to play something new for you. And you know how, like, sometimes you're in a concert and they don't have the mix down completely. Yeah. So, like, you can't really make out what he's saying. And then it's a new song on top of it. So you don't really know the words. So for the longest time before that album came out, me and my friends would be like, hey, remember that song James Hetfield did? And it was And we would always go, oh yeah, that one. Give me 2, give me 5, give me manwich on the side. we legitimately thought that's what fuel was.
That's great. Yeah, the acoustics not very good in there. Huh?
Yeah, no, it was
hilarious.
It was like the Fort Worth Convention Center or something like that. That's where we saw them, and they did that song. I was like, what is that? Yeah, dude. No,
That's awesome.
I think what's weird is like Metallica is kind of like the best example, but also sometimes the exception to the rule, because I feel like they've had some experimental stuff that they've done that I've really liked, and like majority of the people have hated. Like I really liked Saint Anger, and I liked the stripped down sound of it. Like they took out all the fancy production, and they just sounded like a garage band, just banging things out. And I really liked that album. But then like when you got to like Reload, and it was like all like over produced, and just everything was slick. I didn't like it as much. They did 2, and I had no idea they did a second album with like a symphony orchestra.
That's right. I remember hearing that.
And it's not as good. Like I really liked, and here's part of it. The first one they did with Michael Kamen, and then Michael Kamen passed away. And I don't know who this conductor is that they're working with on the second one, but it lacks the charm that going back to John Williams, someone like Michael Kamen. You can't just have any conductor in there. You've got to have someone who understands the storytelling of the music. And Michael Kamen, just like John Williams, had that ability. I didn't mean for this to become a Metallica podcast.
Yeah, all of a sudden I had the same.
Have you ever been to a show that like you didn't have high expectations for, and you ended up being pleasantly surprised?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That happens a lot. I tell you what's great for that is music festivals. I think you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Jenna and I love doing that. We've gone. Really, ever since I met her, we've been going to a music festival every year. Of course, maybe took some time off there during 2020 to not die of COVID, but back on it now, and back to seeing live shows, and really looking for I've been watching as these festivals announce their lineups.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to see what else ACL does this year, because the rumor is that Foo Fighters are on tour. They'll probably be coming back, so we may take the trip back to Texas.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Swing by, pick you up, and go see some Foo Fighters.
I would love that, man.
But I bring that up because, yes, that's a great place to discover new acts that maybe you wouldn't pay any money to see or carve out the time for.
Yeah.
But when you're walking around and you got some street tacos and a cheap beer in your hands, and nowhere to go, nowhere what time, and there's 5 stages surrounding you, you're going to find somebody. There's a band named AJR that's a favorite of Jenna and mine that we discovered while we were waiting in line to go to the restroom. The stage was right there next to it, and we were just like, when you're done wiping your ass, let's check out the rest of this set. And they are now one of our favorite bands.
I wonder if people in situations like that are like, no, dude, we want the stage by the restroom. Like,
yeah, exactly. We want the most ears.
But I'm saying, like, there's an advantage to that. Yeah. Like, I've got a captive audience. Let's do this thing. I think for me, my pleasant surprise was when I took Sarah to see New Kids on the Block.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I ended up having a blast. Like, so it was like, we came in, it was Boys to Men open.
That's incredible.
We came in halfway through their set, and then after Boys to Men was Paula Abdul, and then New Kids on the Block. So like setting the tone, like getting you back into that mindset of the 80s was like really smart. It was great. It was a really fun time. Like I had a blast. They sounded great. Yeah. They were having fun with the audience. My only issue with that show is that like they clearly played every single song they ever wrote. they did stuff off the Christmas album, and this was summer show. But
deep cuts.
But it was fun. It was like every time whenever I look over at my wife, and like if she's tired and she's sitting down, these are guys that she's loved since she was a child, like
time to get.
That's when I know, like, oh, this thing may be going a little too long. But all that said, like, just a really fun time. Like I had such a great time, and it's kind of like what I was telling people today when people were like, "Hey, I heard you went to see Taylor Swift," because I still have kind of the reputation for like, you're the rock and roll guy. So how did that go? How did Taylor Swift go? And I'm like,
amazing.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was great. what a spectacle. Like, this is someone who understands, like, she's been in this business for like, what, 15, 20 years.
Her whole life.
She knows what she's doing, and, she's matured too. Like, I'll tell you, like, there are theatrics that go into it. And who knows, behind closed doors, Taylor Swift could be like just the worst human being.
No,
she could be like when we start hearing stories about Ellen DeGeneres. But like, she definitely comes off genuine.
Yep.
And like just really charismatic on that stage. And that's half the battle. Like, once you have that, you've got me engaged. Like, just like at that point, I'm cheering for you. I'm like, all right, I want to see you do a good job. Let's do this thing. And that's how New Kids on the Block felt. Yeah. I was like, you guys are doing great. I used to hate you guys when I was a kid.
I know,
but
right?
You're doing good.
My sister was a huge NKOTB fan, so I always heard those tunes blaring out of her bedroom.
Yeah.
So yeah, no stranger to hanging tough.
Are you tough enough? Hanging tough. All right.
Oh my God.
So we've teased this, but I think it's time we jump into it, because now we're crossed the hour threshold.
We should be wrapping up at this point. What are you talking?
The nerdiest. What is the nerdiest? Like the nerdiest show that you've been to? What is your? If you would, let's use the term guilty pleasure. Like, just like,
sure,
your nerd, your music kink. What is it? Where is it?
Well, I know Weird Al's on tour. I would have loved to have seen him. I have not.
I've never seen him either.
He probably would have ranked up there, but this one will be easy for me because I just saw this band within the last month, and it's a band that I'd seen before, but Jenna had not. And I've mentioned them not on this podcast, but on our video game themed podcast, 16-Bit Gladiators, that we did prior to this one, talking about a band whose name I couldn't remember at the time, but now I will never forget, because the Bit Brigade is one of my favorites. You talking about cover bands? I guess you could say they're a cover band, because their spiel is there are 4 or 5. I want to say there's 5 members of the band. 4 of them play instruments. The 5th one plays a Nintendo Entertainment System on stage. And he'll play games in real time. So the concert we saw DuckTales and Mega Man. So what happens is, guy sits down, they got a projector behind the stage showing the Nintendo game the guy's playing. They opened with DuckTales. As he's playing, the game's on mute, except for the sound effects. I'm not quite sure how they did that, yes. As he's playing the game, the band is playing the songs that would be going along, like the soundtrack to the game. So when he finishes a level, actually it's even funny, because they'll play the level song, right? It's an Airman or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when Mega Man gets to the end, the boss fight,
they switch
stop
to the boss theme.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, start playing the boss theme.
Wow.
And then when he beats them in real time, they stop, and then and the amazing thing about it, these guys, I mean, so it's kind of a novelty act on its face, but then you see him in person. This is for Joe, for somebody who likes loves rock, heavy metal.
Yeah.
It's 3 guitarists and a drummer, old school garage band. But when you think about the intricacies of the soundtrack to Mega Man. Mega Man 2 was their big act when I saw them a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Those are some difficult songs. Those old 8-bit chiptune songs, they move so quick, and to watch these guys' fingers on the fret just keeping up. You listen to a Mega Man track, and then imagine somebody just ripping a guitar playing it. It's not quite at the same speed, because no human could do that. But it's really impressive, man. And the energy there, because, it was a small little dive bar venue that we found here in Greenville.
Yeah.
And they play smaller clubs, and everybody in there was just like our people, and that's half of the experience, right? When you can find your group. A band like that brings out people who love rock, people who love grunge, people who love video games specifically, and all those things combined. And that was the second time me seeing them, and to be able to share that with Jenna was one of my favorite musical experiences in recent memory.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Check them out.
I'm dying to see something like that.
Bought the vinyl too, by the way. Of course, they were selling a vinyl.
Oh yeah,
I've got Mega Man 2.
That's awesome. It's many years ago. went to a thing called Distant Worlds at the Bass Performance Hall in Fort Worth.
Oh.
And what it is, it's a concert of all of the, basically, it's the best of music from Final Fantasy games.
Oh, that's how I know that.
And,
Yeah.
like this full symphony orchestra performing. Like I went with my buddies James and Kyle. I don't think Jay went with us to this thing, but yeah, like this was like $150 a ticket. They've come back through a few times, and I've wanted to take. I've threatened to take Sarah, but then like the whole idea of like driving to Fort Worth has been like, but like it's to have a full symphony orchestra playing these songs, and like from talking with Jay and I on 16-Bit Gladiators, like he and I are huge Final Fantasy fans. Everything from the characters, the story, the music. I feel the same way about the Final Fantasy music like I do about the John Williams scores. Like there's just something about those songs that like they are characters. They take you through the story, and to hear like a symphony orchestra giving it its proper due. But like it's funny to go to something like that because these programs are usually part of a season.
Right.
And so you've got your season ticket holders for the symphony orchestra, and you can spot them very easy on nights like this.
The blue hairs sitting in the box seats, right?
You see the blue hairs, and then there's like people coming in costume as Final Fantasy characters that are like,
not used to being to the symphony.
Not that I dressed up for it, but at least like I wasn't dressed in a costume. But like just seeing like all these like people, and the thing is, I'm not shaming them for it either. Like I think it's super cool that people are coming out, and like here we are, a collection of people who all love this same thing, celebrating this expression of it. Like that's really awesome. I think that's probably the nerdiest concert experience I've had.
Yeah.
Not for lack of trying. I had tickets to see Ninja Sex Party, and ended up like Jay ended up not being able to go, and I didn't want to go alone. So my wife drove me to the venue. We had I think she was either pregnant or she had just had James, and she drove me to the venue so I could go in and buy the shirt and then leave. so I did that. I have bought tickets to the Cybertronic Spree twice.
Oh, yes.
And they've had to cancel. Yeah.
Oh, no, really?
And they've
So
had
you've
to
yet to see
cancel.
them?
Yeah, because of COVID, they canceled twice.
Oh, man.
Coming through
That's
here.
too bad.
They sent me an autographed CD, though, so that was pretty cool.
There you go. Explain to the listeners who they are.
So, guys, if you've never heard of the Cybertronic Spree, they are a bunch of like Transformers cosplayers, basically. It's a band, and they play the music from the Transformers movie. They did a whole album that covered the Transformers movie soundtrack. That was like a Kickstarter thing. But they also do like 80s songs, stuff like that. They'll cover a bunch of popular tunes, but they're dressed like Rodimus Prime and RC and the Quintesson. And I think Soundwave
They're like Gwar.
is one of them as well. Yeah, kind of like Gwar. That's really good. They're kind of like Gwar. They're dressed up like these Transformers, and they act like they're these personas.
If Gwar were nerdy.
But yeah, I've had tickets for them twice, and they've had to cancel. And I've had tickets for Weird Al twice, and ended up giving those tickets to somebody else, and have never seen him. Like, someday that's going to be, that's my thing. I really want to see that guy.
Yeah, clearly, since you gave tickets away twice, I could tell. Big fan.
I had to do plays. It was both times. It was because I had a play going on.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So yeah, that's my my nerdy experience. You know what?
That's a good one, man.
I'd be interested in hearing our listeners' nerdy experiences. Like, not just nerdy experiences, but also like your favorite shows. What are your favorite concerts? Your least favorite? Do you prefer stuff in like the big stadiums? Do you like the more intimate venues? Because I know there's a lot of great shows that you could see in a more intimate setting. Seeing Chris Cornell with like 7 other people.
That's amazing.
Was a really cool experience. Him doing an acoustic set, hearing him do Like a Stone right there in front of us on an acoustic guitar was like one of the coolest things ever. But then at the same time, seeing Soundgarden at, the Nokia Theater in Grand Prairie, that was pretty damn cool too. Front row watching them.
Dude.
But yeah, let us know what your favorites are, and we'd love to hear from you. Where would they do that?
That's a great question. I believe by the time this episode is up, we will have a Facebook page live and active. So go to facebook.com. I don't have to put the .com. I sound like such an old man. Go to www. Go to Facebook and look for Low Res High Def Podcast. You're going to find us there. I believe we'll have a nice little page. You can sound off there. Or if Twitter is more your bag, then you can find us on Twitter at Low Res High Def there. Spelled just like how you would think to spell it.
Look at your phone screen or whatever you're listening to this podcast on.
The way we're spelling it, that's how you're going to find us.
You'll see it spelled out right there.
LowResHighDef.com.
Yeah, and if you would just drop us a line and let us know, if you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about, you can go ahead and give us those suggestions. We love it because I'll tell you, every week it's Joel and I reaching out to each other going, so what do you want to talk about this week?
I don't know. What's going on?
What should we do?
What'd you do today?
I wish we could do that in real time because then we could tease what we're going to do next week. But until then, you know what? Have fun, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes.
Party on, Joe.
Party on, Joel. Are we being Bill and Ted or are we being Wayne and Garth? Who are we being now?
Swing.
Oh, no.
We'll see you next week, guys.
You've been listening to the Next Wave Radio Network.
That's fucking gold.